Fluent Talk podcast.
From SayAndLearn.
Okay, think about this for a second. Nearly half of all people on Earth now use a product from Meta. That's wild. It means the future Mark Zuckerberg is trying to build is one that billions of us might actually end up living in. So my goal here is to really break down that vision, using his own words, so you can decide for yourself what you make of it all. All right, let's get into it. And right out of the gate, you can see the stakes couldn't be higher. Zuckerberg doesn't see this as just some niche gadget. No way. He thinks this is the successor to the smartphone, the next fundamental way we're all going to interact with technology and with each other. It's a huge claim, so let's unpack how he's planning to get there. To really wrap our heads around this whole thing, we're going to break it down into two main parts. First, we're going to look at the hardware, the actual physical tech that makes any of this possible. Then we'll dive into the core human experiences he's trying to create with that technology. So let's start with the gear. Let's start with the physical tech. This is all about the challenge of shrinking a supercomputer down into something you can comfortably wear on your face. The goal is to move away from today's bulky headsets and get closer to what his team literally calls the real-life Tony Stark glasses. Now, what's really interesting is that Meta isn't just betting on one single device to rule them all. Instead, they're building out a whole family of products across 4 different lines. At the most affordable end, you've got displayless glasses, like the Ray-Ban Metas, which are all about having an AI assistant and a camera. Then you step up to a mid-range pair that gives you a simple heads-up display. Think texts or map directions floating in your view. The long-term premium goal, that's full holographic AR, putting super realistic digital objects right into your world. And finally, you'll still have the full headsets for those really intense experiences that need the most horsepower, like high-end gaming and mixed reality. Okay, so that's the hardware, but why build it? What's the point? This brings us to the first huge idea driving all of this work, the quest for what Zuckerberg calls presence, which he describes as nothing less than the holy grail of social tech. So what is presence? It's not just a better Zoom call. It's about tricking your brain into having that deep gut feeling that you are actually with someone, sharing the same physical space, even if you're thousands of miles apart. It's about using technology to deliver one of the most basic human experiences there is, just feeling like you're together. And this quote, it just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It perfectly illustrates the human need at the core of this whole quest. Because no matter how good our video calls get, they can't bridge that physical gap. The goal of presence is to get as close as technologically possible to solving that feeling, even if things like haptics, the sense of touch, are still incredibly hard to do. But see, achieving that feeling of presence is super fragile. It's like walking a tightrope. Any one tiny thing goes wrong, and poof, the illusion is shattered. If there's even a little bit of lag, if your field of view is too narrow, like you're looking through binoculars, or if a virtual ball just doesn't bounce right, your brain immediately knows it's fake. And that's not even getting into the mind-bogglingly complex senses like touch and smell. Okay, so we have the hardware, and we have the goal of presence. Now let's bring in the second pillar that ties this whole vision together, personalized AI. And we're not just talking about a smarter Siri. We're talking about an AI that's deeply woven into your life because it literally shares your point of view of the world. And this is the critical point, right? Glasses are the ultimate home for a personal AI because they give it context. The AI in your phone only knows what you tell it. But an AI in your glasses, it sees what you see and it hears what you hear. That allows it to actually understand your environment and give you help that's truly useful and in the moment. But that deeper integration immediately brings up this huge philosophical question. As AI starts doing more and more for us, are we missing out on what you might call the healthy struggles that help us grow and learn? To put it simply, is this a tool or is it a crutch? And you can really see both sides of the argument here. I mean, an AI that gives you universal translation is absolutely incredible, right? But does it also take away the incentive to really learn a language and immerse yourself in another culture? An AI that helps you articulate your feelings could be a lifesaver, but is struggling to find the right words an important communication muscle we need to build for ourselves? It's a really delicate balance, and we're going to have to figure out, case by case, where we draw that line. So we have this incredible, almost science fiction technology, the advanced hardware, the personalized AI. But what's the end game? What real-world problem is this all supposed to fix? Well, for Zuckerberg, a huge part of the answer is a real, measurable crisis in social connection. Let's just look at the data for a sec. According to the U.S. Surgeon General, young Americans are spending 70% less time with their friends in person than they did just 2 decades ago. 70%. That is a massive drop in real-world social life. And it's having a real impact. 30 years ago, only about 3% of Americans said they had no close friends. Today, that number has quadrupled to 12%. We might have more digital followers and connections than ever, but we're also reporting feeling more isolated. And this is Zuckerberg's core argument right here. He argues a tech like this isn't trying to replace the real-world friendships we already have. Instead, he says it's for the huge number of people who want more connection than they currently have. From his point of view, it's about adding to our social lives, not taking away from them. But what we build is only half the battle. How we build it is just as important. And that brings us to a massive debate that's raging in the tech world right now. Should powerful AI be kept secret, under lock and key? Or should it be open for everyone to see, use, and build on? So you've basically got two camps. On one side, you have companies like OpenAI and Google. They're building these powerful closed models, and they argue that keeping tight control is the best way to keep them safe. On the other side, you have Meta, which is releasing its Llama models as open source. They argue that a future with lots of different AIs is better, and that public eyes and scrutiny is actually the real key to safety. Now, the argument for open source safety, it can sound a little backward at first, but it's based on decades of how we've built software. The idea is simple. When you release the code for everyone to see, you get way more eyes on it. More experts can find the flaws, those flaws get pointed out and fixed way faster, and the whole system ends up being more secure and robust for everyone in the long run. And all of this, the headsets, the glasses, the AI, the huge debate over how to build it, it all leads us to the biggest, most mind-bending question of all. It's the one that keeps developers and philosophers and CEOs up at night. Just how far can this technology actually go? You see, for a long time, old AI models were kind of like a student who could only learn so much. You could keep giving them more books, more data, but eventually they just hit a ceiling. They couldn't get any smarter. But these new transformer models, they're different. They seem to learn more like we do, where the more they read and experience, the better they get. And the crazy part is, so far we haven't found the top of that learning curve. And that is the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? Are we eventually going to hit a wall where these AI models just stop getting better? Or are we at the very beginning of a curve that's just going to keep scaling up exponentially, leading to abilities we can't even begin to imagine today? And on that question, Mark Zuckerberg is making his bet very clear. As he puts it, we haven't found the end yet. It's a simple statement, but it captures both the incredible promise and the profound uncertainty of the future he's trying to build.